Hello, my dear students. Hope you guys are all doing good. Hope you guys are all perfectly fine. And I do hope that you guys are doing very well in your ongoing November 2023 examination. So now that you are all done with your paper number 5, which is advanced accounting, since you are done with that examination also. So now the next examination which you have to tackle is CA Inter Auditing examination. And as you all are aware, this examination is going to be on 13th of November. So you are supposed to give your examination on 13th of November. And luckily for this November 2023 attempt, we have got 2.5 days of time which is available for us to prepare for the auditing examination. So because of Diwali and all, so generally we get 1.5 days of time for our exam for each examination. But luckily we have for this attempt 2.5 days of time available for revising the subject of audit, which is actually a very good thing. We should all be happy about it. And this what one more thing which will happen in most of the students is, see, when you have 2.5 days of time, some people become lazy. They will postpone their preparation. So generally when you have 1.5 days of time, you become very alert and you will try to utilize the time very wisely. But since we have 2.5 days of time available for this time, so what some students they will become lazy and they will postpone their preparation. It's my humble request to each and every one of you, don't delay your preparation, don't delay your revision. So this is my humble request from my side, guys. Don't waste your time and energy. So 2.5 days of time is available. We will utilize it properly without wasting it. We will utilize it so that we can score best in our auditing examination. Guys, if you prepare well, if you do the revision well, if there is a chance of scoring exemption in the auditing, that will help you in your aggregate. So try to think it from this perspective. Don't unnecessarily waste your time. Don't become lazy by looking at the fact of 2.5 days or 2.5 days of time available. So now, see, whatever preparation you have done for the auditing subject, that is one side. Now, how you are going to effectively revise all that content, whatever you have read. You have spent, some people have spent 3 months, some people have spent 4 months, some people have spent even more than that to complete their preparation. You might have read so many pages of content, so many chapters, so many questions. So a lot of things you have studied in this 3-4 months of time, which you have spent on preparing for this examination. But if you don't revise this content properly in this 2.5 days of time available, your preparation might not be fruitful. So whatever desired results that you are expecting, that is that you can achieve if you are able to revise it properly. So preparation is one aspect, and revising the content which we have prepared is another most important aspect which we should never neglect. So what I'm going to do in this video is, I will not take much of your time, as I already know the time which you have is very precious now. I don't want to waste your time and energy by talking on some irrelevant content. I will straight away come to the point. I will try to end this video just in a span of some 10 to 15 minutes. It will not take much of your time. But my humble request, please do watch this video till the end and take up your preparation. Okay, it is definitely going to be a value addition in your examination. So that can be an assurance from my side. So please give me 10 minutes of your precious and valuable time. So if I talk about those students who have done multiple revisions, see, there will be some students who might not have who might have enough of time, or who might be very quick in their remembering. So if you are such a student, if you have already done 3-4 revisions or 2-3 revisions of the subject of auditing, revision will not be a trouble for you. You can revise the entire content. If you have done almost 2 to 3 revisions already, then revising, then in this 2.5 days of time, you can complete entire revision. But I know hardly 10%, not even 10%, below 10% of the students would have done that. I know that fact. So majority of the students, almost all 90% of the students, what they would have done till now is, either they might have completed one round of preparation, or maximum they might have completed one round of preparation, along with that one revision they might have done. So here where the difficulty comes. So then these students, it becomes difficult in choosing which concepts to revise, which concepts not to revise, what should be top priority, what should be least priority, which chapters I should compulsorily revise and refer before I go for the examination. So this decision making is going to be very crucial. This is where most of the students will get stuck. So I'm going to address those students, almost are 90% of the students who might have done only one round of preparation, or you might have done only one set of revision. So those students, how they can utilize, how they can make proper decision to utilize this 2.5 days of time available. So now let me tell you the chapters or the concepts which you have to focus. So I'm going to talk about that mainly. So first thing, guys, since you are done with the accounting examination, so I definitely would suggest take some 1 hour to 2 hours of rest. You can start your preparation by 7:30 or 8 of today. You can start your preparation after you have given your advanced accounting examination. So what you should first cover, sir? What you should first cover? The first few chapters which you have to compulsorily refer end to end. When I say revision, completely you have to go through. Entire chapters you have to go through. If there are few chapters which I am going to list down now, those chapters are to be revised fully, 100%, without leaving any question, without leaving any sentence. You have to revise 100% of the content from the chapters which I am going to list now. So those chapters are: number 1, nature, objective and scope of audit; number 2, company audit; number 3, audit reporting; number 4, audit documentation and evidence. Audit documentation and evidence. Generally, I used to say for the earlier attempts, I used to stop with this 4 chapters, but for this attempt, I'm adding one more chapter, which is audit strategy. Sorry, audit strategy, planning and program. So these 5 chapters, guys, don't leave anything from this 5 chapters. Please revise it as much as you can. I would strongly say 100% of the content from these chapters has to be revised perfectly. You have to revise these 5 chapters. Earlier I used to say, for earlier attempts I used to say only 4: nature, objective and scope, company audit, audit reporting, audit documentation and evidence. Specifically this time I'm adding this chapter. Why? Because in the last attempt they have asked so many questions from this chapter: audit strategy, planning and program. The content is very limited, but still in the last attempt they might have asked somewhere around 8 marks from this chapter: audit strategy, planning and program. So that's why for this attempt I am adding this chapter also. So first priority, top priority, you have to cover these 5 chapters, that too fully guys, 100% you have to cover it. So once you are comfortably done with revising all these 5 chapters, so I would easily say these revising of this 5 chapters itself will take somewhere around 7 to 8 hours. Spend the time. It is worth it. On each chapter you can spend 1.5 hour, 2 hours, something like that. If you have done multiple revisions of these chapters, that will take even lesser time. Like company audit, most of the students would might become very familiar. So for some students, company audit might take only 1 hour to revise. So like that, if you perfectly plan, and I am telling you, since in this attempt we have 2.5 days of time, so I am allocating the time on a higher level. So you can spend easily 7 to 8 hours in revising these chapters: nature, objective and scope of audit, company audit, audit reporting, audit documentation and evidence, audit strategy, planning and program. So once you are done with that, next, allocate your time for standards on auditing. Allocate your time for standards. I'm going to list out a very specifically 6 standards. I'm going to list out. Those standards should be your next priority. Sir, which are the standards which you are required to cover? Start with SA 501, then SA 505, then SA 510. After that, SA 560, SA 570, then SA 580. These 6 standards should be your next priority. So spend enough of time, read each and every paragraph from this standard. Read each and every paragraph, revise each and every paragraph from this standard. And also in our material, if you specifically if you observe my material, there will be test your knowledge questions. So those questions you have to compulsorily go through that. Why? Because as you all are aware, from the standards, they might not ask a direct question. 90% of the chances they will not ask a direct question from the standards. They will ask a scenario based question. So to get familiar, to get more practice, what you should do is these 6 standards, read each and every paragraph from the content and compulsorily go through test your knowledge questions, which I have given in my material. So my material for number 23 attempt, it is anyhow freely available in my app. You can download it without any cost. So you can use it that way. So once you have spent time on these 5 chapters, then please cover this 6 standards. This should be your next priority. So once you are comfortably done with this 6 standards also, compulsory, since if you are done with all these 6 standards also, the next priority should be RTP. Cover RTP. So quickly go through November 2023 RTP, whatever RTP that has been released for November 2023. Please go through it. Anyhow, I have uploaded a video on my YouTube channel also. You can take the help of that video explaining this RTP November 2023. Go through carefully. If you find any new questions there, try to read the answers also. Not just going through the questions, even try to have a look at the answers also once, so that you become familiar with presentation part. So first 5 chapters, after that these 6 standards, after that you have to go through November 2023 RTP in a detailed manner. So if you are comfortably done with that, I would expect that by the time you will complete this revision, almost all some 9 to 10 hours would have been already spent. 9 to 10 hours you would have already spent on this. If you are able to complete it quickly, that is even better. If you are able to revise these content even within a less time, that is even superb. Now once you are done with that, the next priority should be I am going to list out 4 such chapters which you have to revise. Compulsorily you have to revise. Why? Because the 4 chapters which I am going to list now, those chapters are actually very small in size. And in the recent attempts, if you observe, from the 4 chapters whatever I am going to list now, easily some 14 to 18 marks of questions were tested. In the recent attempts, if you observe the 4 chapters which I am going to list down, from those chapters, in the recent attempts, 14 to 18 marks of questions were tested. And these chapters are small in size, take very less amount of time for revision. And those chapters are: number 1, audit in an automated environment. Audit in an automated environment. Then fraud and responsibilities of the auditor. Then we have audit sampling. Then we have analytical procedures. Then we have what? Analytical procedures. So these are 4 chapters, compulsorily you revise it. Why? Because as I have told you, weightage is very important here. 14 to 18 marks of weightage will be there from these 4 chapters put together. So now I have left out few chapters. See, on the examination day, that is on 13th of morning, reserve it. 13th of morning, I will tell you what you are supposed to do separately. So now till 12th night before you go to sleep, you try to cover this. Sir, I have covered all this, but still I have enough of time. Then what you do is, if possible, try to cover risk assessment and internal control, audit of banks, cooperative societies audit. These things you try to cover in case if you have time on or before 12th night before you go to bed. But compulsorily what you should do, these 5 chapters, these 6 standards and these 4 chapters, this you have to revise. Sir, I am done with this all. That means even by 12th of afternoon only I am done with all this. I have till so much of time till I go to bed on 12th. So then what I should do? Remaining chapters, risk assessment, internal control, audit of banks, cooperative societies and other standards, whatever I have left, that you try to spend the time. Sir, if this is only getting enough for me, sir, I am able to cover, I am not having enough of time. But 12th of midnight, if you are able to spend the time on these things, whatever I have listed down, well and good, fine. So with this, you complete your revision by 12th midnight. Now we have 13th morning. 13th afternoon you go for examination. No? 13th November you afternoon you go for examination. Morning session will be there, right? That morning session, I would ask you to revise a few things. So in the morning session of 13th of November, what things we have to revise? So I always say 2 chapters you always try to revise at the end. Before you go to before you go for the examination, before you close down your revision, before you are ending your revision, 2 chapters you have to revise. If I put it in other way around, you have to end your preparation by revising 2 chapters. What are they, sir? Audit of items of financial statements, and then we have audit of various entities. Audit of items of financial statements, and then we have audit of various entities. These 2 chapters compulsorily you have to revise. When, sir? 13th of November, before 13th of November morning before you go for examination. These 2 chapters you have to revise. Along with that, what I want you to do on the morning session of 13th of November is MTPs. I want you to cover MTP for November 2023, and as you know, in MTP 2 parts will be there. MTP series 1 also will be there, MTP series 2 also will be there. So these 2 MTPs also you try to revise it. These 2 series of MTPs also you try to revise it on or before you go for the examination. And most practicable, better thing which you can do is postpone the revision of these things up to the early morning session of 13th of November before you go for the examination. So this is how you plan your day, guys. This is how you plan your 2.5 days of time which you have available before you go for the examination. Try to compulsorily cover these chapters, and on the morning of the examination try to utilize the time for these chapters. After this also, if you have any excess time left, very happy, very good. So that also you can use it for revising the content which I have not yet covered here, the chapters whatever I have not listed. If you have extra time left, that you use it for revising those other chapters also. Able to understand, everybody? So this I wanted to share it with you. Why? Because most of the students will have a confusion what to cover, what not to cover, how to utilize this time, whatever is available before you go for examination. So all these confusions and all will be there. So that's why I thought of sorting out all that complexities so that you can concentrate more on your revision. Understood, everybody? So this is what I would like to, this is what I thought of sharing it with you. Thank you very much, everybody. All the very best, all the very best for your examination. Do prepare well and give your best in the examinations. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks, guys. Bye. Take care. All the best once again.